Okay, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar. My name is Milan Vukas, and we are joining actually now live. Thank you for joining us today. We're going to be talking today about social media reporting from A to Z. So we're going to be diving into the topic about what is exactly social media reporting, how can I do it, and why should I actually be doing this? And we will be talking about the general aspect about what is important. And we will be as well taking a look at how can I actually integrate this with a tool such as Quintly. So now before we dive into this, I'm just going to welcome as well the people who are now joining. Okay, before we get into the topic and we really start to take a look at the reporting and so on, just some housekeeping rules. The first one is if you have a question throughout the webinar, please do use the GoToWebinar box for that. So you can as well ask our team here anything during the webinar if you have any questions concerning the tool or anything that you didn't understand and so on. So just use that as your medium. So if you have a question, it's the GoToWebinar question box for that. Okay. Let's actually start. Giving you a little information about what you can actually expect from this webinar today is we're going to be, as I said, taking a look at the different concepts that there are that can actually be applied to any business situation about it. So we're going to be talking about how can I implement social media reporting into my organization. What if I already have been doing some social media reporting? How can I actually improve this? And we will be so we're going to be doing everything from actually setting the foundation, so any knowledge about what is actually social media reporting all about, to actually showing you as well a practical example about how to build your very first dashboard using our tool, and as well your very first report. And we will as well show you some tips on how you can actually save time by automating your reports and so on. Now, let's just go one step back and let's ask ourselves, I mean, why is social media reporting so important, right? I mean, why do I have to spend my time basically creating reports that perhaps nobody will read and so on? And why is this important? Well, we believe that the reporting part is actually the most important part in your entire campaign that you're doing. So particularly, we have seen that there is actually a growing number of businesses, of agencies, and so on, who are actually using nowadays data and social media analytics to actually get more out of their campaigns. And I mean, creating a social media report can basically will give you you can actually have the chance to explain back your progress that you have been working, either if you're a brand to your team and to your upper management, or if you are an agency, you can as well use this kind of a reporting system to actually go back to your client and say, hey, this is exactly where we have started off. This is exactly what we have achieved, and there are true numbers about that. Data does not lie, so you can exactly show basically the great work that you're doing day to day. Now, I mean, what you can do as well is you should have the chance to actually choose the stats that are the most important for you, and you should as well tailor your entire reporting towards that goal. And have the chance to actually get an easy to understand report out there that you can actually then send out to either upper management, back to your client, and so on. So what we will be taking a look at in this webinar is we're first going to take, so it's kind of like divided into three parts. The first part will be is we're going to be taking a look at different types of reporting and the questions that you should be actually taking a look into that. The other part is we're going to actually think about what are the different formats that you can actually report back. And last but not least, there's going to be a practical use case of basically giving you all of that information and so on. So I hope that you have now the clear expectation what this webinar is about. So let's actually dive into the next step. I mean, if you take a look, and this is, I think, the important part, what you always have to always keep in mind here is that, I mean, how can you actually create a good report, and what are the kind of like information that you need inside, right? So what you should think about is what is the concept behind that actually fits to your audience. So always think about, for whom am I actually creating this report? Who's going to be reading in it? And this will as well then determine basically which KPIs, which information is actually important to be mentioned in such a report. Right? So ask yourself, what do you want to actually measure? And how do you want to share this information? And these are two important aspects here, which we're actually going to be diving into both of them. So the first one is we're going to ask ourselves, okay, so we have a data-driven approach, but what do we actually include inside? What are KPIs that are important? What are KPIs that I can actually take a look at, right? And the second aspect, I would like to show you today some different kind of formats of social media reports that you can actually use to basically give you as well a little information about what are the advantages of a PDF report, what are the disadvantages of a PowerPoint report, and so on. So this is what we're going to be doing today. And yeah, so let's dive into the first one, and this is actually the first point here. We're going to be taking a look at this entire data-driven approach and what you should be thinking about at this stage. Now, let me be clear on this beforehand. What our main point here is at Quintly is that we truly believe that reportings and as well the dashboards that you can as well create within the tool is that these dashboards and the reports cannot be standardized. So that means that you cannot have basically pre-made dashboards within your tool. You cannot have any kind of like pre-made reports out there and so on. So what we are clearly thinking about for the industry is that an all size fits all approach for social media reporting can simply not work. And you will as well see later on how we actually build within our tool how you can very easily create different kind of reportings that can as well have different kind of social media metrics on it, that can have as well different kind of people who actually receive the report, and so on. So we believe that you should always be the driver of basically creating your social media reports, and you should decide on basically what are the information that I want to include in this, right? So let's actually dive into this one, and let's talk a little bit about the data-driven social media reporting that is out there, right? And data-driven always means, well, there are some kind of KPIs out there. So something that I would actually like to track. In this case, I mean, what you should be always clear of is that if you're starting off with this process, always be clear to actually start off as simple as possible. So take a few metrics as possible that are out there, make it very clear what you are trying to actually get out of it. The most important part about reportings is that basically reports always, I mean, reflect whatever you were thinking about in the campaign. So if you're thinking about a particular KPI, if you're interested in basically in asking yourself the very simple question, did my fan base grow, or are my followers actually engaged with my campaign, and so on? These are the questions that you have to first be very clear about, right? So what is my goal that I want to achieve? And then with that information, you can actually go ahead and choose the important KPIs that might be important to actually create a reporting. So I mean, let's just say that in this case, I'm interested to actually analyze a little bit more about, did actually my fan base growth? And there are metrics and KPIs that you can actually track to see if this number has been going down or if this number has been going up, right? So for example, a possible metric that you can as well use within our tool is the total number of fans. You can use the fan change, or you can use as well the number of own posts if you're interested in basically taking a look at how good or bad are people actually engaging with my brand. So this is the important part. And if you want to take anything from this webinar, then it is that you have to always take a look at what am I actually doing in social, because social is a medium, and social will not basically solve the problems for you, right? There has to be a clear and precise objective behind it. What is my goal on social, right? And this goal can be then replicated in a KPI that you choose. So this was the example of that. Guys, if you have a question, please do use the GoToWebinar box for that, and we will answer them. So, I mean, you still have a chance to ask anything. So that was the first approach. The other approach that I just wanted to take a look at, I mean, once you got a little bit more started, and basically you've started off with your reporting, you have a few metrics that are important, and then you say, okay, so now it is actually time to go even a little bit deeper, right? So this is now for particularly all of our clients out there who are already using our tool. I mean, the next step of the simple report is basically a little bit more complex report. So here you can as well tackle larger sets of metrics. You can as well basically take a look into different aspects that you would like to achieve. So and what you can do here is always try to as well, again, try to find those things that you're trying to achieve, and then take a look at what are the metrics that I can that I can actually that I can track this with. So if we're taking a look at, and I mean, if you're asking a more complex question, like, let's say, did a certain type of content drive the rate of interactions, right? Or did a new hashtag push engagement? These are a little bit more complex things. So this is why the reporting as well can get a little bit more complex. But if you're, as an example now, so if we go for did a particular type of content basically drive my interactions, there are as well then metrics within our tool that you can actually take a look at this. So this is, for example, the interaction rate by post type, which will tell you if in the case, let's say for Facebook, if a particular post, meaning picture post, video post, a link post, which one of those actually drives the higher, the highest, or a higher interaction behind that, right? There is as well the own post per time. So you can as well take a look at what are basically the times that you are posting behind that and so on. Now, if you're going into, okay, so you have, let's say, like a hashtag campaign up behind that, you can as well use the hashtag detection metric here. There is as well an interaction distribution metric. All of these metrics I will show you as well in just a minute. So don't, I mean, there will be as well some of the graphs here. So this is what you have to take a look at, and this is basically then the next step, and this is the real deep analysis of reporting. Let's go to the other side of the report. So let's say that you have chosen all of the metrics that are important. You have created your report, and now you're there. Okay, I have different kind of reporting formats, and this is as well a quite interesting strategic move that you can as well take. It's basically which kind of format might suit your case or your client the best out there. So what I've done here is I've basically I got here static reports, and I as well have live reports. So we're going to take a look at both so that you get a clear overview of how we're going to do it. Again, in just a minute, I will as well show you all of this information as well on a practical example within a tool, what are basically static reports and so on. Now, static reports will basically always give you a snapshot of a performance covering a certain period that you have chosen, right? So what you'll get here is that on, let's say at the end of the month, you'll get the snapshot of the entire month. Periods that you can actually use here is basically daily, weekly, or monthly. And it's rather, I mean, this kind of approach is rather for like the offline reporting and so on. So if you want to give your client, basically send them over an email, this is the way to go. And we have different kind of formats here. I'm not going to go now through each of these cases because there's always an advantage and a disadvantage. But I mean, if we just take a look at, for example, like here, the PowerPoint example, it is an open format. It is made for presentations. You can as well work with your very own templates and so on. And I mean, what the disadvantage here always is that the way that you want to present it, you have to as well be very clear on what is the approach, and is there any kind of like misunderstanding with the template that I want to use, and so on. We do as well have an export, an Excel and ESV export here. This is an open format. It's very fast. You get all of the data basically presented in an Excel sheet. The disadvantage here is that you do still have to do a little bit more of manual work behind it to then again basically create the report that you're looking for. Taking a look at the periods, this as well always an interesting fact that I get as a question is like, what is the best reporting period out there? Should I go for daily, weekly, and so on? What I always like to say here is that it really depends on basically as well on your campaign that you're running, right? If you have only, let's say for a certain amount of time, you only have a campaign that goes maybe a couple of days, maybe a week, then of course you can go for the daily reporting or as well for the weekly. If it goes over for a couple of months, then of course the monthly might get a lot more interesting to actually close that cycle to see how have we actually been doing compared to all of the months, right? So that is the static report. That is what you can get on the static report. Now with Quintly, there is as well the opportunity to basically get live reports, and this is a very interesting approach here. What I'm speaking about is the link export that we offer. You can actually dive into this and see as well what is basically, you can get a shortened link with your entire dashboard. So this is a live data feed. It is very dynamic because you can as well, the data gets updated automatically and it is online and it is live. So this is my personal favorite because I can always very easily as well then share with our clients the dashboards and the reports that I built. So this is as well a quite interesting approach. And so the live reports, which we will as well take a look now in just a second, is quite important. Last but not least here is we do as well have, before we go into the tool, last but not least is we do as well have the opportunity to actually create automated reports. So you can as well actually automate your reports. This is a great time saver because what you can actually do here is you're going to get, you can keep your audience. So in this case, all of the people who should actually receive this report, you can very easily set them on this emailing list. They're going to receive the entire dashboard and report that you've built. And you can as well then actually send this out. Everybody is informed. You don't have to waste time on basically exporting any kind of information back into Excel and then importing it back into an email. All of that is done. What you can do with our tool is you can very clearly as well create the automatic reports that will basically save you as well a lot of time. Now, enough talk about actually the theory. Let's actually dive into the tool now, and let's take a look at what is possible out there and what you can actually see within the tool. Now, before we dive into the tool, because I know that we don't only have, we do as well have a lot of people who are joining in who are new to Quintly, new to social media analytics. So before we dive into the tool, I'm just going to give you a short little information about what exactly we do. Once again, if you have a question, this is the time, maybe now, to actually use to go to a webinar box for that, and then just ask us a question. We will have a short little Q&A at the end. So if you have a question or a comment, then just please share it with us. Okay, very shortly, what is Quintly actually all about? So we are a professional social media analytics tool. We provide a web-based tool that is going to help you or your client, if you're an agency, to basically track, benchmark, and optimize your social media performance. And we are not only giving you the information about how good or bad are you actually on social media, but you can as well take a clear view on competitive benchmarking. So that means that you can actually take yourself in, you can compare yourself as well with your largest competitors, and you can as well see, okay, so where am I actually? I mean, maybe for my internal work, I can say I'm good, but let's actually see where my client is or where we are as a brand compared to all of our other competitors. And this gets very interesting because here you get then best practice examples. You can take a look at how basically your competition is performing, and so on and so on. At the moment, we offer Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Google+, LinkedIn, Instagram, Pinterest, and as well blog posts. So everything is basically addable as a profile, which I will as well show you in just a minute. Onto our platform, you have an all-in-one platform for all of these networks, and this is as well very exciting because what you can do as well is not only create a report for one social media network, you can as well take a look at how is my engagement rate overall the social media networks that I've actually added up to the program. And this gets as well really interesting when you get into the numbers as well. Okay, so where do I have the largest fans, and so on and so on. Since we're talking today about reporting, this is well quite important. We do as well have tailored reports. So as I said, you can actually create specific dashboards. You can automatically actually automate this reporting. And we do as well offer a white labeling option. So for all of those agencies out there, there is as well a chance to basically bring this into, there is as well the opportunity to actually present the report in your name. So that's as well possible. So this is what we do in a nutshell. Let's dive into the tool. Basically, the first part where you always begin off is I begin with basically adding particular profiles to my dashboards, right? This is the first step. What I can do here is I can basically as well add here, for example, a profile. I can go ahead and then just type in the name of the profile, and I can then add this particular profile to my dashboard, right? No, to the account. And this will give you the opportunity to actually have the chance to add up all of the profiles that are interesting to you. A profile is basically here, just very shortly, it is an open public URL that you actually add up to your profiles and to the account, and this will allow you to then track these particular profiles and see how it works. So once you do that, the other step is then to basically go back and see, okay, so what kind of like metrics do we have? We have been talking about KPIs. We have been taking a look at, okay, so what is basically possible that I can actually analyze. And just to give you some brief metrics here, and we're going to do this on the example of basically a dashboard. So this is a dashboard that I've now created. It's a very easy one. It is, as you see, it is an example dashboard. And I have the opportunity with our tool to basically click up here to add a widget. We have over 250 plus metrics that are waiting within the tool. So they are pre-made, and they are basically there to actually give you a clear overview about all of the information about your campaign. We have metrics concerning fans, posts, interactions, and so on. So this is everything that you can get within the tool. And when you get started with basically with Quintly, is the step that you have to take is at some point is to actually build a dashboard. As I said earlier, we believe that dashboards are basically cannot be pre-made. So you will as well not find any pre-made dashboards within a tool, but you are actually the driver of the process, so you can actually choose exactly the dashboard that you would like to build. So let's do this now together. I've built already a little bit over here. So I've added an overall metric that we have. This is the overall interaction rate. So I can take a look at basically all of the information about how is my general, my overall interaction rate compared to all of the networks that I've added down here. So Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Google+, LinkedIn, and Instagram. Then I've added as well, and this is always a good start, I've added here the key metrics table. And we're going to build together basically a little dashboard, let's say in comparison between Facebook and Instagram. So that's what we can do here. Now, if I just go back to my slides, I said beforehand, okay, so one thing that we can take a look at is, okay, so if our question is now, right, and we're talking about, again, what's the goal over here, if my question is, okay, I would like to basically determine if my fan base has grown or not, and I said that here are some important metrics are the total number of fans and as well the fan change. So what I can do now very easily is I can as well implement this within the tool. So if I go up here to add a widget, I can then actually go to the Facebook icon here, and you'll find then this information about the fans. You will find here the fans total, so I'm going to add that. And I will as well add, basically, as I said, the fan change rate. So we have the fan change and the fan change rates. In this case, I'm just going to go for the easier one, and that is the fan change. So I've added now all of these metrics. The other information that we were talking about here is I would like to as well see, okay, what is the information basically, is there or did a certain content basically drive my interaction rate, and which kind of content is that? So what I can do here is I can as well then again go back to the tool, and I can as well take a look here at basically the tab up here for the interactions. And in this tab, I will find all of the information about interactions. We have a lot of metrics as well here. The one that I'm searching for is basically this one. It is the interaction rate by post type. So I'm going to add this one up. And I can as well, maybe as well add here the interactions by the distribution, right? So these are now some of these metrics that I've added up here. I have basically down here the interaction rate. This is all about the fans. This is a key metric table. I did not explain this one yet, but this is always a good metric to basically get started off. The key metrics table will allow you, or it gives you a general overview about your accounts in the time frame that I'm analyzing, right? So in this case, I'm now analyzing this group that I've created of the car industry. And basically, I'm analyzing here only the last week, right? So what this will give me is the total amount of fans. We got here how this is particularly changed in the last week, so either green or red here. We do as well have an overview of the posts, so the total number of posts that have been actually posted. And then again here, the total amount of likes, comments, and shares for all of those posts, and so on and so on. So this is always, I mean, I like this one because it gives me a clear overview about, okay, so what has been going on, what's important, and so on, and I get a clear overview on that. I'm just going to add one more metric over here, and this one is going to be the own post table. This is a very interesting one as well, because what I can actually see here, I can derive from this metric, basically I get all of the posts that have been posted in the last week now from the brands that I've added here. I get information about the likes, comments, and shares, what kind of type of post it is, and so on. But the most interesting part here is that I can actually now start to as well basically click here on the likes. So I will get this sorted by basically what was the best performing post out there according to the likes. So I get my top 3, top 4, top 5 posts of last week. And I think particularly for brands, but as well for agencies, this might be as well really interesting to see which content is working, which content is driving basically a lot of likes, a lot of interactions, and so on. And I can as well then always learn what my competition is doing, and so on. So this is the step that you have to do, and I mean now if you take a look at this, I can with the 250 plus metrics that we have, you can as well build very different kinds of dashboards. So this is now just one example of a dashboard. I do as well have here, for example, like a content strategy dashboard. This is, again, a totally different kind of dashboard because I can as well, I have different kind of metrics there. I track different stuff and so on. So maybe now you see the clear advantage of basically having the chance to choose which KPIs, in this case, which metrics are important to me, and then building as well exactly the dashboard with these metrics. So forget pre-made dashboards. It's just wasting your time because you are, I mean, not every client is the same out there, and you can't always have the same reporting for each of your clients. This is, I mean, that's not the way to go. Now, let's dive into the 2 or 3 opportunities that I actually have about what are the things that I can now do with this dashboard. And we said beforehand, the first part was about, okay, what are the different formats of exports that I can basically take here. We have different formats, so it can go from a normal JPEG to PNG to PDF, PowerPoint, and I did as well say that we have as well the live report. So this means we do as well have the link export. Here, if you click on it, what will happen? It's going to ask you how long this link should be valid. I'm just going to go now for 10 days, and then what you get over here is basically this shortened link, and this will give you the entire dashboard that you've built. You can share this link with anybody. They don't have to be a user of Quintly, and I can then get this entire dashboard that I've built in this web version, very nicely made. The data gets here, as we said, the data gets basically, it gets renewed automatically, so it loads basically always the fresh data. I get all of my information here. I can still play around with all of the graphs. So this is what we have for the live reports. Again, here we do as well offer a white labeling option. So if you want to put your agency's logo up there or your brands, that's as well absolutely possible. So just make sure that if this is from interest to actually ask us as well. Then we said the other option is basically I can as well set up on automatic reporting. So this means that I can actually create a report that will be sent out automatically to all of the people that I determine. I can automate a report. So in this case, this example dashboard report, if I go up here to reports, then I click on the setup button, and I can then actually say here, yes, so enable the reporting. I can add up all of the people who should actually see this report. I can determine what is the time frame always, and then down here, as we said, there is as well the period that you can actually choose. So do I report on monthly, weekly, or daily basis? In this case, we can go for weekly, and then say, okay, I would like to report every Friday. My entire team should get a report of this. I can add up as well a note saying, hey, this is the report, and then I just click here on save. And what will now happen is that the tool will basically pack the entire dashboard that you've built into a PDF, automatically send it out to all of the people as an email, and this is a quite interesting approach out there. Yeah, so this actually wraps up kind of like the practical view within the tool. Is there? I mean, still, if you have a question, please do use the go to a webinar question box, so I can as well give you some information about basically what is possible or not. We're just going to go very shortly back to the slides. I just have prepared some takeaways as well here from today's webinar. Whoops. And basically, if you take a look at this now, what is now important? I mean, now you've seen that there is some work that you actually have to take to determine what is important for my reporting. So just going out there and creating basically like just a standardized approach on reporting will, in our view at least, will not really work out that good, because you do as well have to take your time to think about what is important, what are the people, who are the people who should actually read the report, and so on. So always think about, is it about the data-driven approach? So what are the KPIs, and as well, what is the format that I would like to actually present this data? Now, luckily with Quinkly, you do as well have some options here, so you can as well choose basically what is the most important, what do I actually think as an agency, as a brand, might be the best way to actually report this, right? The most important thing, and this is now if you go out of this webinar and you are talking about reporting with your colleagues, and take away this important point, is that tailoring your report to a specific audience and context is the key to social media reporting. I'm going to mention it again because we truly believe that an all-size-fits-all reporting system cannot work. How do you want to deal with your different client sets as an agency and basically present always the same report to your clients? We think that this does not work, and that's why we clearly have basically, we're giving you the opportunity to create the dashboards and the reports that exactly suit your needs, right? Last point here is that there are many ways to basically export the information and as well the reports, and as well, don't forget that there is as well the opportunity to basically automate your report, which will as well save you a lot of time, and it will give you basically the time back to focus on your normal social day-to-day work out there, so improving campaigns, writing great new posts, and creating content that your users are really, really interested in. Okay, guys, that's it from my side. As I've promised you, we're going to take a short little look at some questions. I have at the moment 2 questions, but if you have a question, there is still a chance to actually as well get an answer here and now. So please do post your question now. The first question comes from Maria. Maria, thank you for joining the webinar. The first question is, do you offer an API? Maria, yes, we do as well offer an API. You can as well take a look at all of the 200 and plus metrics that we have. We do as well have the opportunity to actually create particular metrics for you. So there is as well that opportunity to integrate that into your tool, maybe into the app that you are working on. We do as well have a lot of clients who go for basically a dashboarding opportunity here as well. We do as well have a partnership with Clipfolio. You can actually as well integrate all of your social stats into that dashboard, so that's as well possible, and that works as well with our API. So yes, we do have an API. Okay, next question comes from Andrea. Thank you, Andrea, for joining today. Her question is, so do I get it correct? Is it possible to include Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest in one report? That would be great. Andrea, you absolutely got this right. So what you can do actually here is, I mean, with the opportunity of having the chance to actually create your own dashboard, I can as well create different kind of, I can actually place different kind of metrics from different social media networks on this. So if I go to add a profile, I can as well here say, hey, I would like to add, in this case, for example, the key metrics table for Pinterest. I would like to as well maybe add as well, let's say, a pin table over here, and so on and so on. So you are absolutely right. You can as well add all of these information and again create exactly the kind of dashboard that your organization needs, and this is possible, yeah. Okay, last question here, and as an agency, could I send the link export to clients? I didn't get it 100% as well. Do you offer the white labeling? Yeah, so what you can actually do here is that you can basically, yeah, so you're free to do with the link whatever you like. What you can do here is you can actually export this, as I said, into this shareable link. You can share it with whomever you like, so this dashboard will be then basically presented in this web version. So you can as well share this information with your client, and it's as well a quite interesting approach, because we do as well have a lot of clients who basically use the standard link for a long period of time. So you can as well basically set this link to be valid for 180 days, for a year, and so on. So that's as well possible. And you can always go back. So what they do is basically they create a calendar event. They include this into their event, and each month, or as well each day, we do as well have those clients who go back and work basically with the same link, and they can always see the fresh data out there that is available. And this makes as well your reporting back to the client very easy. You are right, we do as well offer a white labeling option. So here you can as well white label this logo on top, but as well for all of the reports, you do as well have the opportunity to basically white label them, to put your logo on top as well here as well within the tool. So if you export this as well as a PDF, that is basically as well possible to get your logo on top there. Yeah, so you got that right. Last chance for question. If you have a question, let us know. Otherwise, I'm just going to take a look at our team here. Do we have any further questions? No? Okay. So it looks good. Okay. Then that's it from my side. I would like to thank you very much for actually joining our webinar today. I hope that you get a little bit more insights about basically why you should be reporting, and as well the important part, practically, how can I actually do this with a tool. So thank you once again for joining, and I'm going to just throw out there that if you have any kind of further questions, or if you are interested in our product, then just, you can as well reach us via Twitter. That's always the most easiest part. So keep up to date with all of the information. It is at Quintly, and just write us a message there. Otherwise, once again, thank you for joining today, and happy analyzing with the tool. And yeah, hope to speak with you soon.